You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
It's Wednesdays with radio superstar Keegan Matheson. Keegs, it's the All-Star break, it's the downtime in baseball. And if people check the box score of the All-Star game, they'd say, well, they gotta reformat things. It ended in a 6-6 tie. But when you dive deeper, it was an historic night.
It was great. The fact we're talking about an All-Star game the next day is exceeding expectations. Typically, especially nowadays, Dan, like I'm thinking NBA and NHL as well, the NFL Pro Bowl. Leagues are kind of struggling with how to make these entertaining and make them matter. And I think it's because we're really oversaturated. Like I can open up my laptop any night and see Paul Skeens and Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. No problem. This is not 20 years ago where it was a big, exciting opportunity to see those West Coast guys that aren't normally on your TV. Now you've got all of that. So how are you going to make it different? And you can't script the moment like last night with the swing off, the home run derby, whatever you want to call it. But when it happens, man, that's as good of an MLB All-Star game as we've had in a long time. And that's because it was something different. It was something entertaining. And I'm hearing from people today who I never talked to baseball about. And that's a good thing. Because an All-Star game in any sport, it's supposed to do what? Celebrate the game, get you excited about it, showcase people. That's what it did, man. And it's hard to do that these days when you can see every single thing that happens in every single sport every night.
Kyle Schwarber wins it in a swing-off. And is it just me, or does Kyle Schwarber, it seems like for the last 30 years, obviously his career's not been that long, but at least once a year, Kyle Schwarber does something in which everyone's talking about Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber might be my favorite baseball player to watch. I grew up as a big Mo Vaughn fan, the Boston Red Sox DH first baseman. I'm a sucker for the big-bodied DH type first baseman. And Kyle Schwarber, man, is an incredible baseball player. And he's got some swagger, too. Like you saw in that second home run, I think it was. He was down on one knee watching the whole thing go out. It was amazing. And he's a perfect fit for Philadelphia. I'm glad that he's on the Phillies because he fits the Phillies. Him and Bryce Harper are kind of that heartbeat, and Castellanos as well. But, man, Kyle Schwarber is built for power and built for that exact moment. And honest to God, if I could only watch 3 baseball players, Kyle Schwarber might be on that list. And I'm probably alone in that. Of course you want to see Ohtani and everything else, but I love watching Kyle Schwarber play baseball.
Kyle Schwarber, if he hits one on one knee, that means he Ernie Whitted it.
Ernie Whitted.
Ernie Whitt every time down on one knee. Give us the Blue Jays All-Star experience.
It was muted, we'll call it. Vladdy had a single. Alejandro Kirk had a single. Kirk's was just classic Alejandro Kirk. He just kind of waddled up to the plate and just smoked an opposite field single, jogged to the base, no smile, no nothing. It was great. Alejandro Kirk did have, and I like this, one of those ABS challenges. I believe the 9th inning when he was catching Aroldis Chapman, and he stole a strike. And once those ABS challenges are used, I think Alejandro Kirk's going to be really good at them. He knows his strike zone so well. And I talked to Kevin Gosman about this recently for a story I'm working on Kirk. And Gosman was saying, man, like sometimes I'll come into the dugout and I'm ranting and raving. This bleeping pitch was a strike, this. And I'll ask Kirk and he just looks at me and says, no. He knows the strike zone better than anybody. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I like seeing a preview of the ABS stuff for some people as well.
Did you get a glimpse at their playoff bonuses, the Jays playoff or All-Star bonuses? Sorry.
Ooh, man, there's lots of money in this game now. The Derby surprised me. Man, $1 million like that, and there was some real money for second, third, fourth. That's how you incentivize guys. Nothing else is going to matter more than money for anybody. And I like that there was some cash on the line for this, and that's another thing the NBA is kind of struggling with now. How do you incentivize guys who are making $70 million to come play an extra game in the middle of the season? But Major League Baseball in that Derby, a few of those guys are only making $700,000-800,000. You offer to double their salary for the year, that's going to make it fun. So there's a few bucks on the line All-Star Weekend, man. There really is.
The home run derby does need a reboot because it just is too confusing to watch on TV. Too much going on. My idea, get rid of the clock and judge the winner on length, the distance of a home run. Because you're watching, everyone's watching, no one's rushing the at-bat. You're waiting for that ball to land.
I want to see, like, aluminum bats. I want to see a pitching machine instead of a BP guy. Like, I want it teed up for maximum home run, because this gets to kind of what I was saying earlier, Dan. Like, the home run derby, it's always cool. I'm going to be a sucker for it for the rest of my life. I love it. But I've seen guys hit home runs before, right? So what's going to be different about it? It's fun when a guy gets on a run and he's hitting 4, 5, 6, and the crowd's growing, the announcers are growing. But we've seen home runs. We've seen big home runs. We've seen 470-foot home runs. I know that if you gave a guy an aluminum bat, that a few people may die and some buildings near the stadium might lose some windows. So I'm sure there's some insurance considerations to work through here. But, I mean, put it in a football field or something. I want to see something I haven't seen before. I want to see somebody hit one 500 feet, So maybe juice the balls up a little bit, add a little extra rubber in the middle. I don't know. But it's I'm always going to like the Derby because I loved it growing up. But, at a certain point, I'm thinking, okay, I've seen these home runs before.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of was, well, insurance. That's going to be tough with aluminum bats. But, man, it would be great to see someone hit a 500-hit home run. Maybe you can get the ear of the MLB executives. Okay, so the Jays go into the break. They stumble against the A's, but I had this discussion with a friend yesterday. I said, the old me would harp on how do we lose 2 to the stinking A's, but we have to look at the Jays are in the All-Star break leading the AL East. So I'm going glass half full, rear view mirror, baby.
Yeah, you get some cushion. You can allow yourself a couple of screw-ups like that. And this first weekend coming out of the break is going to tell us a lot about this team because everyone's momentum hits pause now. And for the Blue Jays, that's probably a good thing, given that they didn't play their best baseball against the A's. Now, granted, they were in Sacramento in a minor league stadium, and it was hot, so it's a weird series. But you have the Giants coming in, who are a good baseball team, and then the Yankees again. This Yankees series is a big one. And if the Jays win this Yankees series coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're taking off. Like, I think that completely launches them. But if this starts to get tight again, because the Red Sox are back in this, I did not think they would be at all. But the Red Sox are back in this. We know the Rays are going to at least be pesky and annoying in this race in the wild card. So it's going to be another 4-team race. It always seems like a 4-teamer in the AL East. The one team takes a year off, I guess. It's the Orioles right now because they have no pitching. But the Blue Jays are now the hunted. They are the team that is sitting up top that needs to keep some distance. And that's a scary place to be sometimes when you need to keep that.
Guess who's going to be at one of those Yankees games? This guy in the Bet Rivers box.
There we go. Like that.
Yeah. Free food for all. How are we doing for injuries? Are the Jays coming back with a fully stocked roster?
Closer. Jimmy Garcia is the big one that I want to see early on because he's crucial to their bullpen right now. They're a little thin on the back end. And as the year goes on, you only get thinner and thinner. So they need Jimmy Garcia back, who slipped in a cold tub, sprained his ankle. So baseball, man. On the position player front, I think Dalton Varsho will be getting closer. He's coming back from that injury. And if he's back in the next week or two, you're happy. You're good. Santander is still, I feel like this is like part 10 of the series, Dan. There's still no update on Anthony Santander, but it's when you look at what Santander is dealing with, it's been confusing through much of this. And confusing is not good because a shoulder is already very complicated. We talk about elbows as the scary one for baseball players, more pitchers, but shoulders are scary because a shoulder is very complicated and the recoveries can be hard to predict. And that's what we're seeing right now. Before the All-Star break, Santander had not started swinging yet. that is a crucial thing to do as a hitter. So when you're not swinging yet, that means there's still weeks to come. So maybe this is an early August deal. We'll see. But they need him, man. They need him to not just be healthy, but actually give value. Because if he comes back and plays like he was early in the year, that's going to get awkward pretty quickly. And hopefully that's not where this goes, but that would get a little strange. This is a complete revelation for Barger. And coming into the year, man, I've said this before on here that I was not as high as most folks on Barger because baseball is full, Dan, of 21 and 22-year-olds who are doing it. And when you have skills and talents as big as Barger's and it doesn't come together when you're 24, 25, I start to wonder why. And he's made the adjustment. I think he's been empowered in the right way by his hitting coaches who have let him be himself. Like Addison Barger is never going to try to hit a single. If he tries to hit a home run and it ends up going for a single, cool. That's a byproduct. But he is max effort, max everything all the time. And has not only changed the Blue Jays season in 2025, but if this is who he is as a player, that changes the offseason. It changes 26, 27, 28. If you have a controllable, really damn good third baseman, that's something that you can't find for free very often. And that would be a massive, massive news for the Jays.
Here's some massive news for you. We've talked a lot about the Looney hot dog night. We both have our problems. You say the numbers are fixed. I say the temperature of the hot dogs is unacceptable because they come to you cold. I only bring this up because I had a long chat with a buddy who went to a Mariners game the other night, and during their games, they have a promotion, hot dogs from heaven, and they drop hot dogs into the stand. So I said, Jim, what was the temperature of that dog? Because his brother-in-law caught one, gave it to him, Jim ate it. He said, you know what? It was pretty warm. So my question to you, Keegan, if the Seattle Mariners can drop hot dogs from heaven and have them be warm, how can the Blue Jays not serve hot dogs that have not left the ground, that have not gone to space, and not have them warm?
I think this goes right to the top. Like, I think I need to be demanding answers from Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins. You know, this is the Looney Dogs are. It's nice. It gets a surprising amount of people out to the ballpark. Cheap hot dogs would not make me change my plans, but it gets people out, man. And Seattle is quite you know what, Dan, my Seattle hot dog story. Some people around me call this the low point of the season for me, but the hot dogs in the press box in Seattle. Most road press boxes put out hot dogs for the game. The hot dogs were so big that on the second day of the series, I had to cut it in half down the middle. And I had to put each half in its own bun because it looked cartoonish. They were so big that it felt like someone was playing a prank on us. Like we were being videotaped trying to eat these hot dogs. So it's, as I stood there with a plastic knife in the Mariners press box, that was a real candidate for a low point of 2025.
Okay, you have to pick one, and you have to attend one of these games. Do you attend a Looney hot dog night, a bark at the park, or a calendar giveaway? Which one gets you to the ballpark?
You know what? Off the board, calendar giveaway. Bark at the park, I think, might have some smells I'm not into. Looney hot dogs, I think there's too much emotion. Because if I go to a game, Dan, I'm very boring. I want to sit, watch the game. Maybe buy like 3 beer at the start and put them in front of me. But I feel like calendar night's not going to bring out too many crazy folks, you know? Like, I think they're going to be pretty relaxed. Looney dog night, there's going to be some guy in my row getting up and down, up and down, up and down. Bark at the park, well, it might be cute early on. You're going to start to smell some things. But calendar night, people there for calendar night just want to sit and watch ball. Those are my people.
I became a lifelong client of CIBC Bank because when I was a kid, they were affiliated with the Blue Jays. And if you opened an account, you got a bunch of Jays stuff and a Jays calendar. And man, oh man, that was like the Stanley Cup to me.
There you go. When I was young, my first bank account, and I still have it, at TD Bank because they sponsored my Little League baseball team. And I one day in the paper was referred to as the Green Machine in the New Glasgow Evening News, largely because I was just large before the other kids were. I was not more talented, but it was in that age where like we were 7 and I got tall and big before the other kids did. So it tricked everyone into thinking I was good at the sport, but glory days.
Are you old enough to remember Mr. Green Jeans, a restaurant at the Eaton Center?
No. Fun fact, Dan, I've still never been in the Eaton Center, and I don't really understand what or where it is. And I've lived in Toronto a decade. It scares me. In my opinion, in fact, I was just texting my girlfriend. She's at the Eaton Center right now, and I don't really understand it. To me, a mall needs to be a big thing off the highway with a parking lot. I understand that it's downtown. I don't know if it runs underneath stuff. I've literally lived in Toronto almost 10 years, never been inside the Eaton Center.
Well, it's a spectacle, and I'm still baffled that it has the namesake of a department store that closed 20 years ago.
Amazing. They must have got that lifelong branding deal or something.
That's right. Keegan, enjoy the rest of the All-Star break, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
You got it, Dan.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.